Alright guys, so like I said, my Wi-Fi's been down, so not going to be able to get these up. Hopefully till tomorrow I'll be able to get them up. But the one positive, I guess, is I had to do these next few Halloweens out of order because I went online to watch Halloween 6 since it's not anywhere streaming, and it ended up being the producer's cut, which I recognized like a few minutes in. I said, wait a minute, like this isn't the theatrical cut. This is the producer's cut, which is kind of nice because I thought it would be a lot harder to find the producer's cut. So I got the producer's cut out of the way. Now I got to watch the theatrical cut. And I kind of like went right from the producer's cut into H20, and into Resurrection. So kind of a little silver lining here that my Wi-Fi's not working, since I'll be able to watch the theatrical cut of Halloween 6, and that way I can upload them in order and have both the theatrical cut, producer's cut up, and then H20 and Resurrection after that. So 1998's Halloween H20, directed by Steve Miner. I remember when this first came out, this movie, and like this was the movie. Well, like when Curse of Michael Myers came out, I was what, 7? So I was already a Halloween fan at that point, but I didn't get to see it in theaters. Obviously, I was 7 years old, but the first through the 6 movies of the franchise, I have a lot of nostalgia for. The one that came out when I was already established, loving the first 6, is Halloween H20. I just don't care for this movie. Like, I really don't. Like, there's some things in it that I do like with every movie pretty much that I talk about, but I just don't care for it. Like, especially after watching this after Halloween 6, the producer's cut, and just the darkness of that movie and the tone to it. It has such a dark tone and atmosphere. And then you go to this movie, and it's just, you could feel Kevin Williamson all over this movie. Like, all over it. And you guys know how I feel about Scream. I cannot stand the Scream franchise. So having Kevin Williamson, who did a lot of rewrites on this, you could feel it throughout the whole movie. And it just doesn't work for me at all. But let's hop into it. So we open up with Mr. Sandman, a nice little callback to Halloween 2. And we have Marion Chambers here again. And her house is broken into by Michael to try to find Laurie's file, because Laurie faked her death in this movie to get away from Michael, and now is the headmistress at this not boarding school, but like private school, and her name is Carrie Tate, that she takes that name under, or over. She takes that name, you know what I mean. And so Michael breaks in to get that file, and we see Joseph Gordon-Levitt in here in a young role. I mean, obviously not as young as Third Rock from the Sun, which I used to love that show. If anyone hasn't watched Third Rock from the Sun, I don't know what to tell you. What a great show that was. We see him and his friend, and Marion goes over smartly after seeing her house was broken into, and goes over next door to Joseph Gordon-Levitt's house. And Joseph, I don't know his fucking real name, he goes to the house to check out Marion's house, to check out the break-in, and he doesn't find anyone in there, doesn't find any Michael Myers or anything like that. And I kind of like how he fucks the kitchen up. And then he goes over when Marion comes back, and like he's like, no, everything's good. I checked the rooms, I checked the closets, and he did a number on your office. And oh, he kind of fucked your kitchen up real bad too. Just from him getting scared and fucking with his hockey stick, he starts smashing the kitchen apart. That's funny. So there are a few things in here that make me chuckle a little bit. But Michael broke in for Laurie's file. Like, how did he know that Marion had the file on Laurie? None of that makes sense. I mean, we find out that Marion was taking care of Dr. Loomis up until his death. So maybe it was that. Maybe he knew that Loomis was living there and that Loomis would have the file. That's the only thing I can think of. Besides that, I don't know how he would know that Marion had the file on Laurie. And then, oh, it's such weird editing with this. Like, Joseph Gordon-Levitt goes into the house. It is fucking still daylight out. He's only in that house for a few minutes. and he comes out and it's completely dark. Fucking weird. I don't know. The editing is weird in that. I don't know why they didn't just shoot all of it like during the same time, during the daylight outside, instead of having it just go from daytime to fucking nighttime within like 5 minutes. I don't know. Stupid. Then fucking Jimmy Levitt, that's his name, Jimmy, Marion comes in and finds him with an ice skate in the face. That's cool. That's a unique kill that you don't really see too often, is a fucking ice skate planted into somebody's face. So that's kind of cool. Then she opens the door and finds the other kid stabbed, and then Marion gets her throat slit when the cops show up to her house, and she's trying to scream out the window and say, over here, and gets her throat slit by Myers. So then we go to California, where Carrie Tate, Laurie Strode, is living with her son John, Josh Hartnett. Which, say what you want about Josh Hartnett, I actually like his performance in this. And I actually really like his performance in The Faculty, which is a movie I've been trying to get a friend of mine on his channel to cover for a while now. So Jason, if you ever see this, The fucking Faculty. I'll probably get it done before you do. I'll cover it before you. And I love his performance in The Faculty. Not really much else, but people I feel hate on Josh Hartnett a little too much. And so him and his friends end up staying behind on this trip to Yosemite, and they don't want to go. They want to stay back and just have a little party between the four of them. And then we have fucking LL Cool J in here, which I don't know what it was in the late 90s with rappers and horror movies. We have LL Cool J here. We have Busta Rhymes in the next film. We have fucking Redman and Seed of Chucky. Like, I don't know what it was back then that rappers were just all over the place in horror films, but I'm glad it stopped for the most part. Like, I don't know. Never works for me, like, at all. Even though he does have some funny lines in this, LL Cool J, so I'll give him that. And then we have Laurie, and I'll just keep calling her Laurie. I'm not calling her fucking Carrie Tate. And Will, the guidance counselor at the school here, have a relationship, and she's never really told him about her past, about Myers being her brother, and you know how I feel about the whole brother and sister thing. And this movie obviously ignores the whole Jamie Lloyd plot from 4 to 6, so it's a direct continuation from Halloween 2. And I like, actually, how they portray Laurie's trauma in this. And I said in Halloween Ends and that whole trilogy, it just didn't work for me. Like, her whole 40 years of waiting for Michael, and the way that she's supposed to be fucking distraught and traumatized to hell over everything that happened 40 years ago in those films. This film does it so much better. Like, so much better. When she's walking through town and she sees the kids on Halloween, it's Halloween, obviously. The kids run past her and it scares the shit out of her. And she sees Michael's reflection in the window and turns around and it's Will, the guidance counselor. And I don't know, just the way they portray her trauma and the fact that she can't get away from Michael, even though it's been 20 years. When she's at the restaurant with Will and he goes to the bathroom or something and she has a full glass of wine pretty much. And the guy comes and asks, and she says, can I get another glass of wine? And he's looking at the glass she already has. She's like, today, please. Like you could feel the emotion from her. You could feel her trauma, which I actually enjoy about this movie. And that's pretty much where it starts going downhill. And then Michael follows them back when Laurie ends up driving John and his friend, which is Robin Williams' younger version from Jumanji, right? Charlie, his name in this? Isn't that the younger Robin Williams from Jumanji? I'm almost certain that it is. So we got Jumanji guy in here. We got young Robin Williams. And she ends up driving them back to the school. They don't see Michael's car 15 feet away from them. Like when they're at their gate waiting for LL Cool J to open the fucking door, the gate. He's like 15 feet away. And you would think, and you see in this movie, how much Laurie's always looking over her shoulder, always looking around. But no one, like her son, young Robin Williams, none of them notice that Michael, or a car in general, is parked like 10, 15 feet away behind them. That's so fucking stupid. And then Molly sees Michael outside of her classroom when they're having a discussion about fate again. So it feels so shoehorned in. I mean, we get it. It's an homage to the first film. I feel like it didn't have to be there. If anything, they should have had Josh Hartnett, is Laurie's son, should have had him look out the window and see Myers and have that whole discussion about fate. That would have made more sense. Not this random fucking girlfriend that has nothing to do with the series and is slaughtered fucking like less than an hour in. I don't know. They should have had John do that if they wanted to do it at all, which I feel is just on the nose. Too much of an obvious reference. Just doesn't work for me. Then we get the mom scare from Janet Leigh, and everyone's entitled to one good scare, which, what are the fucking chances that you're going to hear that same fucking line said to you twice in your lifetime? Just nitpicking like always, but once you don't like a film, or a film doesn't work for you, you start nitpicking on everything in it. Especially if you've seen it a bunch of times. Like, I've seen this movie a decent amount of times throughout the years, and it's never worked for me. Like, I kind of was into it maybe the first time I saw it. Not much, but like decent. It was decent. And then every rewatch after that, it just kept going lower and lower for me. And this is no exception here. It just went even lower for me on this rewatch. But you're going to hear that same fucking line said to you twice in your lifetime. What a fucking coincidence that is. What I do love is Janet Leigh's whole, can I be maternal for a moment with you? That gets me every time, I'll be honest. Because this is one of Janet Leigh's, was it her last film before she passed away? It was one of her last films. I'm not sure if it was her real last one, but just having mother and daughter on screen acting together and having her throw that maternal line in there. That's a great little homage to Psycho and to their mother and daughter relationship and stuff. And then we even get part of the Psycho score as she's walking to her car, which is this same model car that she drives in Psycho. Which all those little Psycho homages right in that little scene, I absolutely love. So there's another thing for your H20. I enjoy that quite a decent amount. Then Ronnie doesn't hear Michael walk right behind him. Like, look at all those fucking leaves on the ground. When he's walking, we hear leaves crunching all over the fucking place. Michael walks by. He's as silent as can be. He must have, like, insoles or something. There's something on the bottom of his shoes that just makes no sound whatsoever. Because there's no fucking chance that he was, like, 5 feet away from him. Like, 5 feet behind Ronnie. LL Cool J. And he doesn't hear Michael walk right behind him. Oh, God, this fucking movie, man. Leaves all over the place. And then what high school kids make corn on the cob for like a fucking meal? I mean, yeah, I'm sure it's happened. And I'm sure there's high school kids who love corn on the cob. But you never see that in a fucking movie. And I just think that's fucking bullshit. Like, there's no way these kids are making corn on the cob for a fucking meal. Get the fuck out of here. I'm going to heat up some hot dogs or some shit, or hamburgers. That's what they're doing. They're not making corn on the cob. I fucking guarantee you that. And then, the mask in this fucking movie. I hate it. I hate it. I hate the mask in this film. It's so bad. Just the whole point of the mask in the first film is like the blackest eyes. Like, the eye holes are not that big. Like, you can't see Michael's eyes for the most part. In this, like, the eye holes are so big. You see his skin underneath through the eye hole. Like, it just looks so bad. I hate the mask in H20. Absolutely terrible. And then young Robin Williams gets his throat slit and he's dead in the dumbwaiter. And then all those fucking candles, man, with John and his girlfriend Molly. I mentioned this a few times, and I don't know what it is. This is just a personal nitpick for me. Every time I see more than 2 or 3 candles in a fucking scene, unless it's like a satanic ritual, I can't stand it. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the subconscious fear of candles that I might have that I've never, confronted or knew was there or existed. I don't know. But whenever there's more than a few candles, like a fucking plethora of candles everywhere in a scene, for no reason, it annoys me. Like, it really does. And I've mentioned this in a few movies I've covered on here. And then, why would Michael hang, I don't even remember her name, the brunette, fucking Charlie's girlfriend. Why hang her up from the fucking wiring in the ceiling? And then the electricity goes off and the light works in that room, but the power's cut in the whole fucking building. So how did that light go on? Like, this is stuff that it shouldn't be like this. Like, this shit should not make it into a film. And I say this all the time, like, no one on the set, no one, the director, the fucking cinematographer, the fucking director of photography, the fucking script writers, the fucking cast members, no one noticed this and said, wait a minute, like, there's no power here in the whole building. Like, why is the light on in that closet when they turn the light on? That makes no sense. We should change that. Nobody? I notice it every fucking time. The first time I saw this movie, I noticed it. I said, wait a minute, there's no power. How is the light going on there? Nobody notices this. It's a fucking 5-second change. Like, you just change it. Just don't have the fucking light go on. Nobody notices these things. It drives me crazy. It really does when I see shit like that. And then when they finally start getting chased by Michael and they run into the gate, and then Michael's just like puts his knife through the gate and he's going, it's like, maybe these kids will walk into my knife and I won't have to like work hard at all. Maybe they'll just walk into my knife and cut their throats and I don't have to do anything. The one shot in this movie I love, the one shot, is when Laurie opens the door and lets John and Molly in. And then you get the circle window on the door, and you see Laurie and Michael face to face between the door, on either side of the door. That's a great shot. It would be even better if the mask was not atrocious in this movie, but it's still a great shot. I love that shot in this film. Always have. Then that was clearly Michael. When Ronnie's walking around the corner and Will fucking shoots at him, fuck you. That is the biggest fuck you fake out. That was so obviously Michael coming around the corner. It's his shadow. Then when you see him come, it's fucking Michael. Then Will shoots at him and it turns into Ronnie. Are you fucking serious? Like, that is fucking egregiously stupid. Like, and I could see if it was Laurie, if Laurie took the shots and shot Ronnie. Because we've seen her see other people as Michael in this movie. We've seen her see Michael as a figment of her imagination. That would have been all right. That would have made sense. The fact that it's Will, who doesn't have any fucking issues like this, who doesn't see Michael Myers everywhere, and sees that and doesn't know that it's Ronnie. It's not even Will thinking it's Ronnie or anything. It's the fucking movie. It's the movie trying to fake the audience out that this is Michael coming around the corner. And then it changes to Ronnie. And he shoots fucking Ronnie a few times, and then later on he says he was just grazed. Fuck you. The amount of blood that they see by his head, that's not a graze. He should be fucking dead. And it doesn't even look like he gets shot. Like, it looks like he hits like a light above him, like twice. And I forget how many times he fires at him, like maybe 2-3 times. 2 of those shots like go right above Ronnie. So the whole thing with that whole scene is just absolutely stupid. Then Will gets stabbed and hoisted off the ground, which is just a trademark of Michael's at this point. He can just use any implement from a scalpel to a knife and anything that should just tear through human skin and just hoist people up, and their body weight has nothing to do with it. It's like they're on the fucking moon and there's no gravity. He does this so much and it's getting a little old. And then they send... Laurie sends John and Molly off and says that she'll be right behind them and to send them driving away. And it's kind of a cool little callback to how she says to Tommy and Oh, are you serious? Lindsay. I was just gonna have a heart attack. I couldn't remember. Like Tommy and Lindsay in the first film, when he says, I want you to go down the block, I want you to call the police. And so she says the same thing pretty much to John and Molly. Says, I want you to go down to wherever, call the cops, and I'll be right behind you. Then Michael just has terrible aim whenever it comes to Laurie. Whenever it comes to Laurie, he cannot seem to kill this bitch, no matter what. It's always grazing the shoulder or fucking just some other non-lethal stab wound, or he has terrible aim for the one person he really is set out to kill. Like, he don't care about killing any of these kids. He doesn't care about killing any of these fucking people. He's there coming after Laurie. And that's like his main target for 20 years. And he can't fucking aim correctly. He just cannot stab this woman mortally in any fucking way, shape, or form. And then Laurie steals Michael and the coroner van, which is just fucking ridiculous. She just hops in the fucking coroner van and just everyone just lets her go. Like, yeah, they like scream like, where are you going and stuff, but like nobody pulls guns and stuff, like get out of the car, like nothing like that. They just let her drive off with Michael's quote unquote body. Ah, God, I don't know. And there's going to be a lot more of this in the next movie for sure. And she ends up crashes the van and pinning Michael against the branch, or what we think is Michael. Then he does the whole thing when he grabs the mask and like doesn't realize who he is, because we know in the next movie it's a paramedic. Which when I first saw this movie, I was like, good. All right, Michael's dead. They finally killed him off, and there's no way he can come back from this. They found a way, and I'm pretty sure Kevin Williamson wrote that. Like that whole paramedic part of the script, and worked that in there for Resurrection for the beginning. But he reaches his hand out, and obviously he can't talk because of his larynx being crushed, that we find out in the next one, and she ends up decapitating Michael, and that's the end of the movie. And that should be the fucking end. Like, that should have been the end of the Halloween franchise. If that was the end of Halloween, I would have been fine with that. Like, Rob Zombie's remakes and stuff, those could have still came. But the whole trilogy we just got, and Resurrection after this, oh man. Alright, Halloween Resurrection I'm going to have up next. Alright guys, I'll see you there in that.